Hi there, today I'll be looking at some more guitar-based musical reunion stuff as it seems to be a hot topic right now in 2024. There are bands that have got back together, some that have been asked about reforming, and others that, whilst fans might love it if they did, is looking as likely as a snowstorm in the Sahara. Last year, and particularly this year, seem to be shaping up as the era of the reunion. Here are some successes. Las Vegas indie rockers The Killers reconvened with a full lineup this year for a UK tour. Both guitarist Dave Kerning and bassist Mark Sturmer had previously taken a hiatus from the group, and the singer Brandon Flowers has gone off to do solo work too. But 2024 marks a return to celebrate 20 years of success for the group. From their debut album Hot Fuss in 2004, Mr. Brightside has become a staple of radio airplay here for the last 2 decades, and the song DJs in any situation go to if they want to add a bit of indie disco to the mix. Rebel Diamonds, a greatest hits package, has also been released, but beyond promotion for this, it'll be interesting to see what the Killers do next. On the home front, 2023 saw Sheffield indie darlings Pulp reform to play live in the UK. Jarvis Cocker & Co have been doing some shows in Europe as well as across the USA in 2024, and the Pulp frontman seems to have put his broadcasting career on the back burner to concentrate more on touring, and it's looking like they'll possibly continue into 2025. Also in 2023, after 8 years away, Britpop titans Blur came back with a new album and a slew of huge gigs, including festival appearances and a triumphant 2-night stint at Wembley Stadium, a feat that had eluded them previously. They also did Coachella earlier this year, where singer Damon Albarn was less than impressed with the audience, so it's possible his focus will be back on other projects soon enough, and this was more of a one-off situation. But maybe there is some hope they might do some shows a little more often. Who knows how much more we'll see of Blur in the coming years. To round out the mid-90s vibe and no strangers to Wembley Stadium, something that came as a surprise to most, we had the recent announcement of an Oasis tour next year, which would be 30 years after the iconic What's the Story Morning Glory was released, with whispers of a new album potentially in the works. Time will tell if the warring Gallagher brothers can keep the ceasefire long enough to make it to the start line of this tour, and bookies are taking bets on whether they'll even see the tour through. Having dropped a new single from their forthcoming album From Zero, the new version of Linkin Park is ready to go, although original guitarist Brad Delson won't be touring with them live, and founding member Rob Burden has been replaced on drums, so really it's a reunion in name only. After the untimely death of lead singer Chester Bennington in 2017, Linkin Park have been on indefinite hiatus. There have been rumours ever since of Mike Shinoda and the gang possibly seeking out a new singer, and it seems they think now enough time has passed to create a new chapter in the story. In the early noughties, the multi-million selling Hybrid theory launched them into the public consciousness, with its rap elements over metal riff sound. Now, Emily Armstrong, who previously fronted LA rock band Dead Sarah, has been unveiled as co-vocalist with Shinoda. With her similar sounding combination of sweet to snarly vocals, including the screams, she has been hailed by some as a great replacement for the late Bennington. But this has led to some criticism from Chester's family and some fans, to do with her connections to Scientology for the most part. Generally speaking, it's been fairly positive. Bands that will not. The Morrissey-fronted seminal 80s quartet The Smiths acrimoniously split all the way back in 1987, just before their last album, Strange Ways Here We Come, was released. Both Morrissey and guitarist Johnny Marr went on to solo careers and other projects. Since then, there has been disagreement on what caused the breakup, how the royalties from the songs were split, and more besides. Much of the rumblings of discontent have played out in the media, none more so than a recent post on Morrissey's website, claiming Marr now owned the rights to the Smiths name, and could replace him with another singer if he chose to tour under the Smiths moniker in the future. This, and the assertion Marr had blocked Morrissey's request for another greatest hits package, were rebutted in a statement by Marr, adding that he had turned down an offer to reform the Smiths in 2025. It seems unlikely the duo will reconcile their difference anytime soon, which, given there was an offer on the table for a reunion, will disappoint many. Pink Floyd. One of the most well-known contentious relationships in rock is David Gilmour's with founding member Roger Waters, and that was even before the most recent round of accusations and recriminations from both sides, and in some cases related parties. With all the reunion mania going on at the moment, David Gilmour was asked about people who were still yearning for the band to get back together. Whilst his response to the question about Oasis reforming, which was simply Oasis should do what was right for them, his reply to the inquiry of his former band was more forthright. There's only 3 people left, and We're Not Talking. The divide between Waters and Gilmour, that grew from the controlling role that Waters tried to ever increasingly impose on the band, has grown since Waters left, and whilst the Floyd released new music under Gilmour's leadership, it wasn't of the same high quality of the classic 70s lineup. There have been a few small reconciliations, notably the Live 8 gig, but as time has gone on, there has been little appetite, especially from Gilmour, to reunite with Waters under any circumstances. After rehearsing for Live 8, he said playing with Pink Floyd wasn't something he wanted to be doing a lot of. Now, with Waters in his 80s and Gilmour not far behind, it seems as though the years have not and cannot heal things. This reunion is nigh on impossible. A band that actually did reunite, but it doesn't look like it will last. Recently, Jane's Addiction, the late 80s and early 90s American alt-rockers, had kicked off a UK tour after a 14-year hiatus with their classic lineup featuring singer Perry Farrell and guitarist Dave Navarro. The band had had many twists and turns, the usual rock and roll debauchery, a revolving door of members past and present coming and going, bust-ups, long-term illness, multiple periods of activity to being dormant. Their story, that stretches back nearly 40 years, looked like it might have an extra chapter, with the inclusion of founding member Eric Avery alongside the return of Navarro, who'd recovered from long COVID. Having new music to promote and feeling like they had a new lease of life, this came crashing down to an abrupt end at a recent gig in Boston. Farrell became involved in a spat with Navarro, allegedly to do with the onstage volume, and the singer, having throat problems to deal with as well, feeling like he was being drowned out, shoved and tried to hit the guitarist, prompting other band members and crew to rush on stage, and then for Perry to be roughed up whilst being restrained. With the gig then cancelled, Farrell's public apology wasn't enough to stop the tour being scrapped, with mental health concerns being cited as the reason. All this as their second single was released in the same week. Whether or not some semblance of Jane's Addiction attempt to promote this record remains to be seen. Looking at their past and how they've gotten replacements in key areas before, it is possible in the future we hear from Jane's Addiction. At the moment, however, it seems they might not be active again for some time. No doubt more bands will reunite in the coming years, possibly more 90s ones over here, as that decade is very much on vogue again. Time will tell what will happen to the ones covered in this video. Hopefully if it's the end, then the fans appreciate the legacy that's left behind, and for the ones that are to continue, maybe a new lease of life, however temporary. That's all for now. If you can give me a like and a subscribe, that will help the channel grow, and I'll be able to cover a wider variety of topics. Thanks for watching.